Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a Sunday Stuff and Things, and we are having all sorts of technical difficulties today. I'm going to try to keep this one shorter because I currently have no internet at my home. I haven't for 2 days now. Had a Comcast person over there today, or Xfinity, whatever they are now. So we'll be talking about that a little bit, but what basically is going to happen is that I'm either going to have to try to use my phone as a mobile hotspot to upload the Sunday video, which may or may not work because it's going to be a huge file. And so I'm going to try to keep the length down a little bit so it's not quite as huge a file, or I may have to do it at a lower resolution or something. We'll see. Or I'm going to have to try to go to a coffee shop or someplace with free Wi-Fi. But again, it takes a long time to upload a video, a long Sunday video. So we'll see. Hopefully, if you're watching this, I was successful in getting my video uploaded, but we'll get into all that. Hello, I think I said welcome to Stuff and Things. We have many stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things you can look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. We'll talk about my technical difficulties and dealing with Xfinity. I do want to point out that we complain about corporations all the time, and there are many reasons to complain about big corporations, but sometimes if you have a good experience, you should talk about that too. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I took a little day trip down to Seattle yesterday. I'm going to briefly discuss that. I'm going to try to briefly discuss all of this stuff. We have to talk about the Seahawks. They're playing the NFC Championship game tomorrow as you're watching this. We'll have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag #AskStuffandThings, and then we will close the show with the Patreon shoutouts and updates. So let's hurry and get into this. All right, so what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon? Well, this week on YouTube and on Patreon, we're going to have the "Hey man, nice camera" video when I'm talking about, or where I'm talking about, the kind of unwanted attention I get now when I walk out with my Leica M4. Getting a lot of comments, a lot of people talking about it, discussing it when I'm just trying to take pictures. It's cool. I like talking to people. I'm friendly, and I've had some good interactions with people, but it's just something I didn't think I was going to be dealing with. It wasn't something that really occurred to me before I got this camera, and so I wanted to discuss that in a video. It's kind of a fun video. And then the week after that, exclusive to Patreon, will be the Cornell and Diehl Blue Ridge First Impressions video. An interesting blend. I did the First Impressions video, or I recorded it last week. I'm going to be recording the full review next week. So be sure to check out that First Impressions video if you are a Patreon supporter. And then the week after that, we will have winter film shots. So I've been complaining probably too much about how dark and overcast and drizzly and difficult it is to take pictures, film pictures, particularly in the winter here in the Pacific Northwest. As I'm recording this, it's a brilliant, beautiful day. It was very cold this morning. It was like 24 degrees, but because of that, or because of the clearness, it has been getting cold at night, but still getting up into the 40s during the day, so not bad at all. But this is not normal. It's typically not like this, and so it's very difficult to get film photography done when I get off work and it's already dark, and it's tough. But I have a couple rolls of film that I did recently that I took kind of during the height of December into early January. So we'll go through some of those shots and talk about kind of what I'm looking for and what I am able to get this time of year doing film photography. And yeah, lots more good stuff coming up on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. So, technology's fun, isn't it, gang? Things just go wrong for no reason. Actually, I do know what the reason is now, but often you will be going merrily going along, doing what you've always done with your computer or your modem or your router or whatever, and then suddenly things just stop working. You don't know why. Recently, or yesterday actually, very early in the morning, I woke up and I was going to go down to Seattle for the day, just for a few hours, because I wanted to go down and look at the new waterfront park. And because it was going to be a nice, beautiful day and I had the day off of work, I thought I would just head down to Seattle and try to take some pictures. And I had gotten a notification from Xfinity saying, hey, we're going to be working on your internet throughout the early morning. It should be back on kind of midday. And I thought nothing of it. I had no internet that morning, but I thought, okay, by the time I get back from Seattle, it'll be fixed. So I went down to Seattle, did my thing, I think I got an update at one point at like 11:30 or something saying, hey, your internet should be working now. So I got back home. It was probably 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening when I got home, and I noticed that I had no internet. So I restarted my modem, no internet, restarted the modem again, no internet, went into the Xfinity app and started going through the whole process there where it says, is your modem plugged in? Yes. Is the coaxial cable plugged in? Yes. Have you restarted your modem? Yes. Would you like to restart it again? Okay. And then it kept saying, we're not getting any signal from your modem. So we're going to have to schedule a tech to come out. I was like, oh God, what am I? It was late. It was Friday evening when this was happening. So I figured, there's no way they're not going to be able to have anyone over for the weekend. And I'm probably not going to be able to be around on Monday. So anyway, I put it off because I thought I would just wait and see if maybe miraculously it came back on. This morning, still wasn't on. And I have to do things on the internet. Like, internet is pretty important. I was just using my phone as a mobile hotspot for a while to try to load pages and get, like YouTube comments and things like that. But you can't really do that when you're uploading multiple gig video files. So anyway, I finally decided, okay, I'm going to try to chat with a customer service representative. And I had, most of their customer service is outsourced to India. And I got someone on customer service named Pavesh, I think. Where is that? Parvesh. And so we went through the whole process again where we're chatting just through the Xfinity app. And English was pretty good. I was able to make myself understood. And I don't know if Parvesh is a male or female name. If you are Indian, let me know. I'm going to say she because it just seemed like a she. And she was being nice and, going through the whole process. And she was going to try to remotely reset the modem and do all these things. But at one point during the conversation, she says, meanwhile, I am working on it. May I know how your day is going so far apart from this? I was like, okay, this is weird. I've never had a customer service chat person try to, talk to me about my day. So I said, pretty good, thank you. I hope yours is going good as well. She responds, I'm glad to hear that! ! Smiley face. Thank you for asking. I am also doing wonderfully today. It has been raining since this morning. I am waiting for my parcel. I ordered some warm clothing for myself and my mother. LOL, smiley face. I thought, okay, this is weird. So I said, yes, it's been cold here too, but with no rain. I hope your clothes arrive soon. She responds, yes, that will. I hope my mom likes them, as parents' tastes are different. And then a winky face. And then I said, I hope she likes them too. It was just this weird, started getting into like weird personal conversation with the customer service rep in India for Xfinity. But she eventually scheduled an appointment for me. And to my surprise, she was like, oh, it can be between 1 and 3 today. Today as I'm recording this. So I thought, okay, fine. So said goodbye to Parvesh. She was quite nice. I gave her a nice rating on the little survey that they give you after the end of the customer service thing. And then as I was just getting ready to come out here, I got a call and was like, hey, I'm the Xfinity tech and I could come right now if you want me to. And it was literally like 20 minutes after I got off the customer service chat. So great job with Xfinity. Xfinity does a lot of things that annoy me sometimes, but that was pretty nice. Good customer service chat with Parvesh, and then they got the rep, or they got the tech over there immediately. The problem being, though, that when he came and checked, he checked my signal, said, yeah, something's weird here. Then he went down to whatever the box is on the building to see what was going on. And he came back and said, the issue is that they had upgraded our internet to a different kind. What was it? It was like DOCSIS. He said that my modem was no longer compatible because I provide my own modem. I will never use don't ever use your internet provider's modem and router. Always use your own, in my opinion. I think that's good advice. So I have my own router and my own modem, and he said that it no longer supports, I think it was like DOCSIS 3.1 or something, or I needed one that was DOCSIS 3.1 or 4.0. 4.0 are very rare. And so basically he said, I could either give you one and you'll be renting it from Comcast, or you can replace it yourself. And I said I would replace it myself. So I ordered one. Hopefully it'll be here tomorrow. Maybe I'll be able to upload Sunday Stuff and Things before then, but I don't think I can count on that. But anyway, so it wasn't totally resolved, but I did find out what the problem was, and supposedly when I get the new modem, I will have almost parity with my upload and download speeds, which would be great. So pretty good experience with Comcast/Xfinity. So I thought I'd better shout that out. And hopefully my internet will be up and running soon. It sucks because, you know, my entertainment is the internet. When I'm eating my meals, I usually like to stream something and watch something. On Crunchyroll recently, I've been watching a lot of anime. So I had to actually just watch on my computer. I mean, this is so stupid. Who cares? But I had to use my phone as a mobile hotspot and then stream that to my computer and watch it that way. Boo-hoo, doesn't matter. But anyway, I need to be able to upload videos, so hopefully internet is fixed soon. Speaking of technical difficulties, I just ran out of battery in the middle of me discussing my day trip to Seattle. So let's take that again, shall we? Basically, I ran down to Seattle yesterday because it was another nice, beautiful day. I had the day off, and so I thought, might as well go down and take some pictures in a new environment. I've been just kind of marching around in Bellingham forever, especially this winter. I wanted to see something new. So ran down to Seattle. I wanted to see that new waterfront park, and I'll probably intersperse just some phone pics while I'm talking about this. But there's some really cool architecture down in that area, and I hadn't been kind of downtown amongst all the skyscrapers in quite a while. And there's just a really cool skyline. There's just interesting, unique looks to the buildings. It doesn't look like every other US city, or I don't know, if you just see so many skyscrapers in so many cities look very similar, and in Seattle seems like there's more character to it. And the new waterfront area is really cool. There used to be the Alaskan Way Viaduct, and they ripped that out. That was right on the water, and it was kind of grungy around there. Ripped that out and put like kind of new shops and promenades. There's these interesting big staircases that go down kind of from Pike Street down to the waterfront, lined with shops and benches and places to sit and socialize, and just a lot of people wandering around. It was cool. And then, of course, I went to Pike's Place Market and took a picture in front of the famous public market sign, like all tourists are supposed to do. And then at one point, I remembered, oh yeah, there's an Ivers on the pier here, like Pier 54. And Ivers is kind of a Seattle institution. It's a fish and chip place or a seafood place. And we used to go there when I was a kid, when we go to Mariners games. And I loved it when I was a kid because there was an outdoor seating area where you could stand and feed French fries to the seagulls. They would actually fly by and grab them out of your hand. So went down there, had a 3-piece fish and chip and a small drink, and it was $19.99. So rather expensive, but still quite tasty, and I did enjoy watching the people feeding the seagulls, and I think I got some good pictures in Seattle. So it was a fun little day trip. So I think once I get these photographs developed, I will do I'll do an episode, not a Sunday episode, but just an actual Wednesday episode where we go through the images that I got. I took a good 2 rolls, maybe a roll and a half while I was in Seattle. So we'll see if I got anything good. We'll talk about my little Seattle day trip, and hopefully I got some good pictures. All right, but speaking of Seattle, we have to briefly mention the NFC Championship game that is taking place tomorrow between Seattle and the Rams, or the Seahawks and the Rams. It's very weird to me. And I don't want to be one of those people because every fan base says this, but it is strange how the national media just still kind of ignores Seattle. Number 1 seed in the NFC, number 1 scoring defense. They just destroyed the 49ers in the divisional round of the playoffs, and people are still picking the Rams. I think Vegas has Seattle maybe slightly favored, but they are playing at home. But I hear all these analysts talking, and they just still keep talking about the Rams. The Rams barely got past Carolina. They barely got past Chicago. I don't know. It seems weird to me in this day and age when information just immediately can be zapped everywhere throughout the world, that the fact that Seattle is kind of stuck up in that upper left-hand corner of the U.S. still seems to make so much of a difference. There's still so much East Coast bias or big market bias. I kind of don't mind to a certain extent because I'd rather have people not talking about the Seahawks and not picking them to win. It's better to go under the radar for me. But it is weird. Like, I still talk about this all the time. When before the season, Vegas had their win total at 7.5. So many analysts had them as last in the NFC West, which I just thought was absolutely insane. So people have been sleeping on the Seahawks. They're still sleeping on the Seahawks. And I think the Seahawks have a very good chance of winning the NFC Championship game. I think that's basically going to be the Super Bowl, because I don't think the two AFC teams left have any chance of beating either the Rams or the Seahawks. Hopefully those won't be famous last words, but hopefully the Seahawks will get past the Rams. And then either way, it'll be a rematch. It'll be a rematch against New England or the Broncos. And that'll be fun. So hopefully they get there. Hopefully they take care of business tomorrow. And I'm very excited. All right, I said this was going to be a short one, and it's not a short one. So we need to run through these. It is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings, but you shouldn't, because nobody does, and I never read Twitter anyway. If you're a Patreon supporter, you can write to me via Patreon. Go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button under this video and go right to the front of the line, or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback in the YouTube comment section of my YouTube videos, just like, actually, this is Les Brady via Patreon. Les Brady says, dude, I'm so glad you're okay after the harrowing car accident. So I almost got killed by a car last week. I had a less scary but similar thing happen to me once when I was stopped at a T intersection in my car. The light turned green, and for some reason I felt that I should pause before pulling into the intersection. About a second or two later, a huge 4x4 truck barreled through from the left, running the red light at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. If I'd have proceeded when the light turned, the truck would have hit my driver's side door, and I'm not sure I'd have survived. Anyway, your story brought back the memory, and I'm so glad you have the reflexes you do. At least the clueless girls had the decency to stop and show remorse. Again, glad you're well. Thank you, Les, and I'm glad you are as well. There are a lot of these little near misses that can happen throughout your life. These sliding door moments. Next, we have at Ledger and Lace, who says, but enough about my almost death, now on to football. Quoting me, aka meaningless sporting event. Again, quoting a commenter who was annoyed that I was talking about football. I knew as soon as you read, I could care less, I knew we were going to hear you being pedantic. Good thing he didn't begin his sentence with, so, glad you're still with us. Yes, so thank you very much. And yes, I was being pedantic about somebody saying I could care less, because it is I couldn't care less. We have at Gordy, who says, most dearest good friend Bradley, thank God you're okay. My dad recounts a story where him and a friend were at a local protest when suddenly someone drove through the crowd and his friend was standing in the way of the vehicle. My dad remembers reaching out to grab him, but suddenly my dad's friend is standing next to him. The car drives by, the police are called, but to this day, neither my dad nor his friend can explain how or who exactly moved him out of the way of that vehicle. Guardian angels, perhaps, a glitch in the matrix. Personally, I've had a few near misses with traffic, particularly on crosswalks, and someone making right on a red turn, nearly mowing me over. Anyways, glad you're okay, and keep up the good work. Yeah, it's interesting in situations like that where you don't even really, it's hard to put together a sequence of events in your mind, like, oh, this happened, and then I did this, and then this was the result. When I jumped out of the way of the car was coming at me, and then suddenly I had jumped. And it wasn't as though I consciously thought of that or anything. It's just your body takes over, and it does seem as though you're missing time sometimes. And Michael Case says, regarding the nice camera comments, it may be time to break out the gaffer's tape. Some Leica people will black out any Leica identifiers when doing street photography, may even black out the chrome. Even in places like Bellingham, there are snatch and run artists who look for Leicas. Make the camera look as generic as they can. I ride a motorcycle and have experiences like yours almost daily. Yeah, I've heard people talk about that. I know some people who have the Leica M6 that has a big red dot on it. They'll black that out, or they like to make their Leica look stealthy. I'm not worried about anyone stealing it because it's always around my neck. They would have to yank me with it, and they would have a very angry person on the end of the camera if they tried to yank this. So yeah, I'm not really worried about anyone snatching it. But yeah, something to consider. I never just leave it on a table or anything like that. It's always in my hungry mitts. At Chris Coffee says, I've only heard this blend pronounced joie de vie, so I've been saying joie de vie, being slightly sarcastic when I do that. It's my amazing French pronunciation, but yes, joie would be more correct, obviously. But French makes absolutely no sense to me, second only to Irish Gaelic. My good friend Bradley, I'm so glad you're okay. Thank God he spared your life. Thank you, Chris Coffee. And yes, my French pronunciation is obviously perfect. Every French word I pronounce is always perfectly pronounced. So when I say joie de vivre, that's probably the way the French people, in fact, it's exactly the way French people would pronounce that. But joie de vivre, yeah, you're probably right. And then for the joie de vivre review, Ted Stryker says, all that work and the tea wasn't even that great. I suppose those days keep us humble. Yeah, I didn't love it. It was okay. You should watch the review on Patreon. I was about to say YouTube. That's not the case anymore, if you're curious. And then Ted says, is the P.O. Box address on our YouTube page current, if I may ask? And yes, Ted, thank you, it is. And I haven't had a chance to go check it recently, but I will try to do that soon. Thank you for all that feedback. Please keep it coming in. It really helps make the show go. All right, gang, but now it's time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support Stuff and Things on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. It's basically the way I'm able to keep making these videos. YouTube revenue is basically non-existent, and so the Patreon money that I'm able to make helps go towards all the videos that I produce every single week. If you like anything you see on YouTube or on Patreon, your support on Patreon keeps this coming. Also, if you do $5 a month on Patreon, gets you in the door, you get access to the archive of all the old pipe reviews, pipe blend reviews. Any new pipe-related content has to go on Patreon and not on YouTube, so you get access to all of that stuff, and then you get early ad-free access to all the videos that go on YouTube as well. So every week we like to shout out those who support Stuff and Things at $25 or more a month, the producers of Stuff and Things. People like Jason Buckner, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, The Friendly Piper, GreatGrol, Glenn, Just Glenn, David Severin, Nicholas James, Kyle Whitmore, Mr. Gibson, Chris Caughey, and Ryan McFadin. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support Stuff and Things at $100 a month. People like the stolid and dependable Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, what can you look forward to exclusively on Patreon this week? Well, not exclusive, but early and ad-free, you will have the Monday video instead of Wednesday. It will post Wednesday on YouTube, but Monday on Patreon, the Hey Man, Nice Camera video. And then on Thursday, from the archive, we will have GLP's Haddo's Delight. Another one of these weird forgotten blends, something that I hadn't thought about in years and years and years. That review was from July 13th, 2016. So look forward to that on Patreon. Look forward to all the good stuff we have coming up on YouTube and on Patreon. Until next time, until we meet again, hopefully you're watching this video. Hopefully my internet got fixed. Hopefully the Seahawks beat the Rams. I'll see you later.